OpenAI just closed a $40 billion funding round. That's the largest in Silicon Valley history. A hacker hijacked Axios, an open-source project used by millions of developers to push malware directly into their code. And Meta just unveiled two new Ray-Ban prescription smart glasses with advanced AI features built in. All right, let's start with the one that rewrites the record books. OpenAI just raised $40 billion in a single funding round. The Wall Street Journal reports this is officially the largest funding round in Silicon Valley history. Nothing else comes close. To put that in perspective, the previous record was SoftBank's $32 billion Vision Fund raise. OpenAI just beat it by $8 billion in one round. The valuation after this raise puts OpenAI at approximately $300 billion. That makes them more valuable than Oracle, more valuable than Netflix, more valuable than Adobe, Salesforce, and Uber combined. But here's what makes this really interesting. This isn't a traditional venture capital round. This is a pre-IPO mega raise designed to give OpenAI enough capital to operate independently for years without needing to go public. The investors include several sovereign wealth funds, major tech companies, and institutional investors who normally don't participate in private rounds. According to WSJ sources, the round was oversubscribed by more than $15 billion, meaning OpenAI could have raised $55 billion if they wanted. They chose $40 billion because that's what they calculated they need for their roadmap over the next 3 to 5 years. What does that roadmap include? Infrastructure build-out. OpenAI is planning massive data center investments. They're building compute capacity to train models that are orders of magnitude larger than GPT-5. They're also investing heavily in research talent. Competitive compensation for AI researchers has exploded. Top-tier talent now commands $5 to $10 million per year in total compensation. OpenAI is competing with Google, Anthropic, and xAI for the same small pool of elite researchers. And they're funding product development beyond ChatGPT. Despite discontinuing Sora, they're investing in other modalities: voice, robotics integration, real-time reasoning, multimodal understanding. But here's the critical part. This $40 billion raise delays the IPO we talked about in previous episodes. With this much capital, OpenAI doesn't need public markets for funding. They can stay private longer, which gives them more flexibility to take risks and invest in long-term research without running out of money. That's a massive competitive advantage, and it's exactly what Sam Altman was aiming for when he structured this round. Now, while OpenAI secures $40 billion to build the future, someone just compromised one of the most widely used tools developers rely on today. Axios, an open-source HTTP client used by millions of developers, TechCrunch reports a hacker gained control of the project and pushed malicious code directly into the package that developers download and integrate into their applications. Here's how this works. Axios is what's called a dependency. It's code that other developers include in their projects to handle HTTP requests. Instead of writing that functionality from scratch, they just import Axios and use it. Millions of applications rely on Axios: web apps, mobile backends, enterprise systems. If you've used any modern web application in the past 5 years, there's a good chance it's running Axios somewhere in the stack. The hacker gained access to the maintainer's account. Once inside, they published a new version of Axios that looked legitimate but included malicious code hidden inside normal functionality. When developers updated their dependencies, they automatically pulled in the compromised version. That malicious code then executed inside their applications, potentially stealing data, creating backdoors, or compromising user information. The attack was discovered relatively quickly. GitHub and NPM, the package registry where Axios is distributed, removed the compromised version. Maintainers pushed a clean update, but for several hours the malicious version was the current release. Any developer who updated during that window pulled in the compromised code, and if they deployed their applications to production without thorough testing, that malicious code is now running in live systems. This is what's called a supply chain attack.
Instead of targeting individual applications directly, the attacker compromised a dependency that thousands of applications rely on. One breach, thousands of victims. And this is becoming more common. Open source packages are maintained by small teams or even individual developers. They're not always secured to enterprise standards. Gaining access often just requires compromising a single maintainer's account. The scale of potential damage is massive. Axios alone is downloaded 100 million times per month. Even a few hours of exposure means potentially millions of compromised downloads. For developers, this creates an impossible problem. You need to use dependencies to build software efficiently, but every dependency you add is a potential vulnerability. You're trusting that the maintainers are secure, that their accounts won't be compromised, that malicious code won't be injected. Most developers don't have the resources to audit every dependency they use. They trust that the open source community and package registries will catch problems. But as this attack shows, that trust can be exploited. The solution isn't obvious. Some companies are starting to pin specific versions of dependencies and audit them before updating. Others are using automated scanning tools to detect suspicious code changes. But even these approaches slow down development and still aren't foolproof. What's clear is that as more critical infrastructure runs on open source code, supply chain attacks like this will become a primary target, and the security model that worked when open source was a niche thing doesn't scale when it's foundational to the entire software industry.
Meta's pushing forward with consumer AI products that are shipping. Meta just unveiled 2 new Ray-Ban prescription smart glasses with advanced AI features built directly into the frames. Reuters reports these are the latest iteration of Meta's partnership with Ray-Ban parent company EssilorLuxottica. The new models include prescription lenses, which the previous versions didn't support. That massively expands the potential user base. Anyone who wears glasses can now use Meta's smart glasses without needing to wear contacts or switch to non-prescription frames. But the real upgrade is the AI integration. The glasses include multimodal AI that can see what you're looking at and provide information in real time through audio output. You can look at a restaurant menu and ask what's good. The AI reads the menu visually, cross-references reviews and recommendations, and tells you through the built-in speakers. You can look at a landmark and ask what it is. The AI recognizes it, pulls relevant information, and explains the history. You can be in a conversation where someone mentions a book or movie, look at your phone or a poster, and ask the AI for details without pulling out your phone. This is ambient computing. AI that's always available, understands context from what you're looking at, and provides information without requiring you to stop what you're doing and interact with a screen. The privacy implications are obvious. You're essentially wearing a camera and microphone that's connected to Meta's AI systems. Everything you look at, everything you hear potentially gets processed. Meta has included visual indicators. Small lights show when the camera is active. Audio cues indicate when the AI is listening, but those can be subtle and people around you might not notice. The regulatory questions haven't been fully answered. Can you wear these in places where recording is prohibited? How is the data being stored and processed? What happens if the AI misidentifies something or someone? Meta's bet is that the utility outweighs the privacy concerns, and for some use cases, that's probably true. Travelers who want real-time translation or information about unfamiliar places, people with visual impairments who benefit from AI-assisted description of surroundings, professionals who need hands-free access to information. But the tech industry has tried smart glasses before. Google Glass failed spectacularly, partly because of privacy backlash. Meta is hoping that better AI capabilities and more subtle design will make the difference this time. The prescription lens option is smart. It removes a barrier. People who need glasses have to wear them anyway. Adding smart features becomes an incremental decision rather than choosing between glasses and a separate device. Whether consumers actually want this is still unclear, but Meta is clearly committed to the bet. They've invested billions in reality labs. Smart glasses are a key part of that strategy, and unlike VR headsets, which require you to isolate yourself from the real world, smart glasses augment reality while keeping you present. If AI continues improving, ambient computing through smart glasses could actually become mainstream, but Meta needs to overcome the privacy and social acceptance hurdles that killed Google Glass. These new models are a test. If they gain traction, expect rapid iteration and more aggressive AI integration. If they fail again, it might signal that consumers simply don't want cameras and AI on their faces, regardless of the capabilities. So let's connect these three stories because they reveal different facets of where AI is right now. OpenAI raised $40 billion, the largest funding round in Silicon Valley history. That gives them unlimited runway to outspend competitors and delay going public while building more value. Axios was compromised and pushed malware to millions of developers through a supply chain attack. That shows how vulnerable open source infrastructure is and how one breach can cascade across thousands of applications. And Meta shipped new Ray-Ban smart glasses with prescription lenses and multimodal AI, betting that ambient computing will overcome the privacy concerns that killed Google Glass. The pattern is acceleration and risk. OpenAI has the capital to move faster than anyone, but moving fast creates security risks, as both the Axios attack and the Mythos leak demonstrate. And products like Meta's smart glasses push into territory where technology outpaces social norms and regulation. None of this is slowing down. OpenAI will deploy that $40 billion aggressively. Supply chain attacks will keep targeting critical open-source infrastructure, and AI capabilities will keep leaking despite companies' best security efforts. And consumer AI products will keep pushing boundaries before society decides if it's comfortable with them. The question isn't whether AI development will slow down to let security, regulation, and social acceptance catch up. It won't. The question is how much damage gets done while those gaps exist. All right, that's what's happening in the AI world. $40 billion raised, millions of developers compromised, offensive AI leaked, smart glasses pushing boundaries. If this breakdown was useful, subscribe to the Read AI. We're covering AI developments like this, connecting stories other outlets treat separately. Drop a comment, which matters most? OpenAI's record funding, the supply chain attack, or Meta's smart glasses bet? I want to know what you think. And share this with someone trying to understand how fast AI is moving and what risks that creates. I'm Alex. I'll catch you in the next one.